Since childhood, we have been familiar with the image of vampires in movies, creatures that look like humans but survive by drinking the blood of others. People believe they fear sunlight, only appear at night, and sleep inside cold coffins. Stories like these have appeared in countless horror films, making everyone think that vampires are nothing more than products of imagination. But sometimes, events happen in real life that make people question whether such creatures could actually exist. A mysterious case that occurred in the state of Florida made many believe that this world may still hold things far more terrifying than we have ever imagined. One day in Florida, a group of teenagers rushed to the police station to report that their friend Sarah had suddenly gone missing. According to them, Sarah had planned to hang out with them the day before. But when the time came, she never showed up. What worried them even more was that Sarah's phone had been turned off since that day, and no one could contact her. Her family also had no idea where she had gone. Everything happened so suddenly that everyone feared she might have been in serious danger. The police recorded the case as a mysterious disappearance, not realizing that this was only the beginning of something far more horrifying. While the police were completing the missing person report for Sarah, a strange phone call was suddenly transferred to the station. When they picked up, all they could hear were loud sobbing sounds mixed with terrified screams. But no one answered when the officers kept asking what was happening. The call made everyone in the room uneasy. Sensing that something was wrong, the police immediately traced the signal of the phone number to locate its position. However, the tracking was not easy because the signal kept changing, as if the caller was moving or trying to hide their location. Feeling that the call was connected to Sarah's disappearance, two officers decided to go investigate in person, not knowing they were getting closer to a terrifying secret. While following the signal from the mysterious call, the two officers, Brad and Derek, suddenly saw someone lying unconscious on the side of the road. When they came closer to check, they discovered it was Sarah, the same girl who had just been reported missing. Thanks to the photo provided earlier by her friends, they recognized her immediately. Sarah's condition was extremely serious. Her skin was pale, her body was cold, and her arm was still bleeding. They rushed her to the hospital right away. After examining her, the doctors said that for several days in a row, Sarah had been losing blood, leaving her body severely weakened. Not only that, a few of her teeth were missing. There were strange burn marks on her hands, and on her back appeared mysterious symbols that looked like they were written in an ancient language. These signs made the police believe that she had been captured by an extremely dangerous group of people. After hearing the hospital report and seeing the strange marks on Sarah's body, Officer Brad believed that this was not an ordinary kidnapping case. That very night, he decided to return alone to the area where Sarah had been found to investigate further. After driving far away from the city, Brad entered an empty road leading into a dark forest. The air around him became cold and unnaturally silent. He tried to go deeper to look for clues, but after a while, Brad realized that he had returned to the exact same spot even though he had never turned the car around. While he was confused, he suddenly saw several strangers covered in blood walking toward his car. Their faces were twisted and terrifying. Brad panicked and pulled out his gun, but in the blink of an eye, all of them disappeared, as if they had never existed. After witnessing those strange visions, Brad felt dizzy, as if someone had hypnotized him. He slowly lost control and fell into a deep sleep inside the car. When he woke up, he was horrified to realize that he was tied tightly to a table in a dark room. A tube was inserted into his arm, and blood from his body was flowing into a bottle placed beside him. In front of him stood a man and a woman who looked completely normal. They were talking and eating as if nothing unusual was happening. But the terrifying thing was that on their table, there was a bottle filled with blood, and they took turns drinking it. Brad looked around and saw many objects used for dark rituals, along with human teeth scattered across the room. At that moment, he understood that he had fallen into the hands of an extremely dangerous group. Even though his body was almost exhausted from losing blood for hours, Brad tried to stay calm and find a way to escape. When the strangers were not paying attention, he used all his strength to loosen the ropes on his hands and quietly slipped out of the terrifying room. After running outside, Brad found an old phone booth by the road and immediately called the police station for help. Luckily, Derek answered, but strangely he could not hear what Brad was saying. Instead, all he heard were crying sounds and horrifying noises coming through the phone. Derek quickly traced the signal of the call and found Brad collapsed at the exact place where they had earlier found Sarah. He rushed Brad to the hospital, but because he had lost too much blood, Brad did not survive. Not long after, Sarah also died from the same condition. After the deaths of Brad and Sarah, Officer Derek could not forget what had happened. He believed that behind the incident there was still a terrible secret waiting to be uncovered. For many days, Derek returned to the forest where they had found the two victims to continue the investigation. Together with his team, he searched every small road and every deserted area, hoping to find a clue. After a long time, they discovered an old wooden house deep in the forest that looked extremely suspicious. Outside the house was a broken phone booth, exactly like the one Brad had used to call for help before he died. When they went inside, no one was there, but there were many signs showing that the place had been used for strange and frightening rituals. After carefully examining the house in the forest, Derek and the investigation team began putting together all the clues they had found. The traces inside the house, along with the condition of Sarah and Brad before their deaths, made them believe that this was not an ordinary crime. According to the investigation, behind everything was a secret group that believed in the existence of vampires. This group was said to perform dark rituals in order to extend their lives by drinking human blood. The strange objects, ancient symbols, and ritual marks inside the house showed that they had been operating for a long time without being discovered. Even though the police tried to track them down, no one from the group was ever caught, as if they had mysteriously disappeared from the forest. After the horrifying case ended, the police in Florida did not record any similar incidents in the area again. However, what Derek and the investigation team had witnessed made them unable to believe that everything was just a coincidence. The case file was kept as one of the most mysterious incidents, because many details could not be explained by normal logic. Around the world, there have always been many stories about vampires, creatures said to survive by drinking human blood. Some people believe they are only legends, but others think that somewhere in the darkness, such terrifying things truly exist. This story is said to be based on real events, and even today it still makes many people wonder whether vampires might actually be real.